invite Pest-Free Banks Peninsula Working Group, David Miller, to the table, please. Thank you. Good morning.
Kia ora, good morning. Shall we get started?
Yes, please. Sorry. Sorry.
All right. Well, kia ora and good morning again. Madam Mayor and councillors, thank you very much for the opportunity to be heard today. I'm David Miller, and in this iteration I am before you as the chair of the Pest-Free Banks Peninsula and Port Hills Partnership, and I'm submitting on behalf of the partnership's working group. To give you some context, Banks Peninsula Conservation Trust has initiated and chairs the Pest-Free Banks Peninsula and Port Hills Working Group. That's a growing consortium of key partners, including Christchurch City Council, ECAN, DOC, the Summit Road Society, the Rob Donald Banks Peninsula Trust, Kaukurarata Runanga, Banks Peninsula Conservation Trust, of course, and others. Our collaboration with key partners is comprised of key players who've demonstrated their commitment to a pest-free Banks Peninsula and Port Hills. It's a community-driven approach with strong and enthusiastic agency support. Membership of this partnership will also include Selwyn District Council and is open to a wide range of community groups, schools and businesses. The Pest-Free Banks Peninsula and Port Hills Working Group welcomes the focus on implementation of a pest management program in the City Council's long-term plan for 2018 to 28 and their service plan for parks and foreshore. We similarly welcome the service intention to implement a restoration program for threatened indigenous ecosystems and integrated conservation of threatened species in the service plan, and we see pest control as integral to all of this. So I'm here to ask specifically, or to encourage Christchurch City Council to implement the following. First, a long-term commitment to supporting a community-driven partnership approach to all pest control work on Banks Peninsula realised through the partnership. That partnership is described in our MOU, which will be formally signed in September this year. You may have a copy of the MOU attached to our written submission. Secondly, we're looking for financial support of a minimum of $50,000 in year one of the partnership to develop an overarching strategy for a pest-free Banks Peninsula and a multi-agency and organisational collaborative operational work program. Thirdly, we're hoping for a commitment to all Christchurch City Council pest control policy decisions and operational work being in alignment with the Pest-Free Banks Peninsula and Port Hills Partnership overarching strategy and work program. We also request an annual provision of $40,000 cash and in-kind support for continued implementation of the ongoing goat eradication project on Banks Peninsula, and a scaling up of the dissemination of animal pest traps and training events on their appropriate use to support ground-based community efforts for pest control and the development of local capacity. For example, as with the Akaroa Trapping Group, the Summit Road Society and the Quail Island Restoration Trust. I'd also like to mention trap libraries, which are, in our experience, enthusiastically responded to and supported by the communities in which they are available. There's an excellent example in the Akuti Valley, and we need more such libraries so that the community can pursue its own initiatives in support of the overarching strategy we've designed. So thank you for hearing me thus far. I won't repeat what I've put in the wider written submission, and I'll be grateful for any questions or comments you may have.
Thanks, David. Does anyone have any questions? Phil?
Thank you, David. I'm just wondering if you might be able to give us an indication of the results so far with the pest-free programs in terms of the, the increase in the native fauna.
We have patchy information on that, and that's one of the reasons that we're putting monitoring and scientifically based data collection and reporting back as one of the key pillars of the overarching strategy that we're developing. It's we always say, the measure of our success is birdsong, but also a measure of our success is the demonstrable reduction in numbers of low-hanging targets for pest control, such as feral goats, deer, even cats, and so we need to become far more sensible about the true impact of what we're doing. But the feral goat strategy is it's been working very recently in Little Akaloa, and we're hopeful that with the full eradication of goats from that part of the peninsula, for example, we will have cleared over half of Banks Peninsula of feral goats, and hopefully we'll see a regeneration in floral biodiversity.
Great. Thank you, because anecdotally there's a lot of great stories, but clearly there needs to be further measurement of the successes too,
yes,
increases.
Yes.
Thank you.
And further resourcing to make sure that we get the step up increase in biodiversity protection that we're after.
Andrew? Thank you.
Thank you. David, you mentioned trap libraries as an opportunity for the community to get involved in pest eradication. Would you be looking for council funding for traps, or is funding likely to be available from elsewhere, but if council were able to provide space and maybe some facilitation through our existing networks for trap libraries?
You answered the question, Andrew. Thank you. Yes. So we're not seeking funding specifically for that at this stage, but we are aware that there's a tremendous community and growing community interest in supporting biodiversity activities. So there is an ongoing demand, not only for traps, but for education about traps and for education about appropriate monitoring and feeding back. There was a recent open day at the Akuti Trap Library. It was astonishing to see the whole community participating in that experience.
Thank you. Any additional questions? Aaron asked for a goat last time that this came up, but he's already put in his request. Yeah. But look, thank you very much. I mean, the whole concept and the MOU process and everything is something that's, it's exactly what we've been looking for in the LTP. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank
Cheers.
you.